So this is the view from the top of the Obzova mountain. It's quite amazing. You can see all the islands and mainland and everything. When you start your descent from the top, the first part of the trail, well, there is no trail. It's just rocks everywhere, everything looks the same. And actually I don't think it doesn't really matter where you go. It's all kind of rideable. The rocks are not too bad and too big. And if you don't want to get lost, just look at the trail signs. They are painted on the rocks, and this is the general direction in which you should be riding. Oh, by the way, this video shows the whole trail, so everything from top to bottom, so you can get a really good idea what this trail is like. Nothing has been cut out except all the stopping and breathing and turning the camera on and off and things like that. Yeah, this is where the rocks have their annual convention or something. There are one or two places where the trail goes through some bigger rocks, and maybe a better way would be around it, but I don't know, I just followed the trail signs. On the left you see like this sick little meadow surrounded by a stone wall, and it's like the cutest camping place ever. So maybe one time I bring my tent and sleeping bag, and this is where we spend the night. At the bottom you have a few feet of grass, and then you hit the wall. So here you have to carry your bike and put it over the wall, and then you can continue your ride. So once you reach this second stone wall, this is kind of like the end of the first part of the trail, the part that goes right from the top up to this crossroads here.
Where the trail ends.
If you're looking for the way forward, like this is where the trail is barely visible. You can see some more brownish looking rocks in the distance, and yes, this is the trail. If you can't see them, the trail goes right in the middle of the small forest that you can see that is surrounded by a stone wall. So there's a passage through the stone wall, and this is where the trail goes on. Obviously, here we have more rocks and even more rocks. This part is still kind of fun. And also you're approaching the first really good view was from the top. You're approaching the second amazing view, like on the top of this really dry, almost desert-like valley. And well, you'll see it soon enough. Yeah, that's the view. Now this here is one of the sketchier parts of the trail, because the rocks are really loose, it's full on rock and roll, and then you also have these switchback turns and everything put together. It's well, it's not for beginners. Otherwise the landscape is amazing. There's a few more loose rocks, and then a bit later on you reach a part that's it's not a flow trail, but there's a bit less rocks. Yeah, that's it. That's the smoother part. smoother is meant like for this trail or for the top part of the trail. Later down it gets a little bit better. From time to time there's just so much rocks and so much movement under your wheels that I just had to laugh. And after a longer section I just had to stop down for a while, and there are also some big berries growing here on the bush on the right. Yeah, that's, oh my god, that's my girlfriend riding. She set her GoPro camera way too low towards the ground, but it's kind of cool, you can see what the ground is like. Yeah, quick snack, blackberries. Yummy. Don't try to eat them while your full face helmet is on. Yeah, with so many rocks it's really hard to start sometimes. Once you're riding and you have a little bit of speed, your wheels will roll over, but when you're starting it's like it gets stuck on every little stone. Here is another part where it's not completely clear where the trail goes. You can see the trail more clearly in the distance, and I think I kind of managed to hit it correctly, but it just kind of go over everything. One more shot from behind the bars of my girlfriend's bike. Yeah, that's me standing there filming. Yeah, that's the general feeling you have towards this trail when you stop. It's like we found this trail on Trailforks, so you can find it there and download the GPX file, so you don't get lost. And we also heard about it from some guys that we met on another trail here on the Krk Island, and they described it as rampage. This is kind of correct. And on Trailforks it's marked with black, and there are all sorts of discouraging comments on it, like I had a flat every 5 meters and this is the hardest trail something something. And it is challenging, it's not for beginners, there are just so many rolling rocks, but it's actually not that bad. There are a couple of hairpins turns that they're almost impossible to ride, but there's not much walking actually, you can ride pretty much the whole trail. Yeah, that was me complaining in Slovenian about how much rocks are there. That part here that we just passed was actually, I think that was the sketchiest part of the whole trail. It's just a trail going straight, but the rocks are just so loose. It's almost, I don't know, I didn't really feel it's safe enough to ride, so that was the only part that I walked maybe for 20 meters. And for added bonus, there are also 2 hikers there. I think they were from Germany and they were looking at us and saying, oh, Wahnsinn or something, we're crazy. So this was some added pressure. and it didn't help with the riding, so this was the part that I skipped. Now we're getting closer to the lower part of the trail. Here trail goes into the forest a few times, and a few times it also becomes pretty smooth, so you can go a bit faster, and it's fun. The whole trail is really fun. Here it's it's a hiking trail, there are no mountain biking features on it, no berms, no jumps, nothing, but it's just so you have to be like 100% concentrated all the time, so you don't hit a rock, you don't get thrown off the bike by loose rocks. So there's something going on at all times. Yeah, and the kind of smooth parts don't last very long, they are soon followed by more rocks. This part is really fun. Woo! Now watch this, watch the view here, it's like, wow, my god. You're like concentrated on the trail 100% and you're inside the bush and it's rocky, and then all of a sudden just the sky appears and the valley below and the sea in the distance, and it's really cool. Yeah, quick high five and on we go. Back into the forest, and yeah, even though we're lower there, and you would expect the trail to get smoother and smoother because the top of the mountains is just 100% rock, but it's rocky the whole time. Most of the time the trail is not really steep, it's like the perfect inclination for a mountain bike trail. The hard parts are just hard because of I'm repeating myself, but because of the loose rocks. So the terrain in itself, it's pretty good. I mean the mountain, the steepness and everything. If you'll be doing this trail in the summer, it gets really hot. So bring plenty of water, and maybe at the top of the mountain you don't feel the heat because there's a little bit of wind, and you're at 500 meters or 570, I think, to be more exact. So it's not that hot, but the lower you go, the hotter it gets, and less wind is there is less wind. It's like descending into a sauna. So bring enough water and like start early. Fuck. Yeah, the rocks are not disappearing. They are still here. Not going anywhere. Well, not going anywhere except rolling under your wheels. But obviously this is way better than the top and the middle part of the trail. This is like, if you wouldn't do the top and the middle part of the trail, this would be like a normal trail, but after that every rock you see you're like, ah, there are still rocks. We are already pretty low down in the valley. There's a gate here, I think. Yeah, that's it. And after the gate there's maybe a few more minutes of trail, and that's it. So close the gate behind you. I think it's to keep the sheep in or out. Depends on which side they are. But this part here is pretty fun. You can go a bit faster, and then you hit a creek. You think like the creek is the trail, but it's not. It goes a little bit on the left side of the creek, and yeah, then it goes over it, and then it looks kind of like the creek. In the end, anyway, because of all the rocks. Yeah, every time you can go a bit faster because the trail is a little bit smoother. You're like, yeah, this part of the trail is really good, it's so sick. And basically you're just going straight, but because you can go a little bit faster, you're like, yeah. Okay, here you're riding straight across these rocks. And these rocks is where the creek flows when there is enough water. So this is the part that looks like the creek, but it's not, it's the trail. And this is almost the end of it. I think there's just one more left turn. Yeah, that's it. That's the... No, it's not. Oh, more rocks. Sorry, my bad. But there's a left turn at the end, and yeah, this is it. And then you hit the road, and this is the end of the trail. For more trails on the island, check the link in the description, and like and share this video. Yeah, see ya.